Hi Lauren, Mr. Wayner here. I hope you're having a great time on vacation. I just wanted to catch you up on some of the concepts that we're talking about in class. I will send your mom and you some practice problems that if you have some time just to go over those. That's not mandatory that you do that, but I just ask that you work on it until you're good to go, and so you'll be ready to join back up with the rest of the class. Now, you've been talking about fractions last semester with Mrs. Sebastiani, and I just want to go over some of the concepts that you might have already talked about, and I'm not really sure where you're at. We've never worked together yet, so if some of this is you're saying, Mr. Wayner, why are you telling me this? I just want to make sure that we're totally clear, especially with the vocabulary as well. So we look at a fraction like 1/2, and we label our 1. We label that the numerator. I'm going to put n for numerator, and the 2 is our denominator. One way that I remember this is ND Notre Dame. Now, we've talked about adding fractions together like, if I had my pen that would be helpful, 2/8 plus 3/8. Now when the denominators are both the same, we can add them together quite easily. We add them together and the denominator stays the same. It never changes. One misconception is that people think that you do 8 plus 8 to get 16. No, the denominators always stay the same. Then I just add together the numerators. 2 plus 3 is 5. It's like thinking of like a pizza. It's cut into 8 slices, and I had 2 of the 8 slices. Now I have another 3 of the 8 slices. So overall I had 5 of the 8 slices. Now we're going to kind of move on to some more challenging ideas or more in-depth concepts. Now if I have the fraction 3/10 and I want to add it together with, let's say, a fraction like 1/2, I can't add these two together as they are right now because they do not have the same denominator. But I can change this problem so they do have the correct denominator. Let me show you in a picture first, which will help me show you why I can do this, why I can just follow the procedure. Now if we think about a half is like this right here, give or take. My drawing isn't so great with my finger here. And let's say I wanted to make it into tenths. This same half right here into tenths. Well, I divide it up. I could even do it for the other side as well. And I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These two, this 1/2 and 5/10, are equivalent. Now how do I do this by showing my work with the math? I want this denominator right here to be the same as my 10. So I'm going to say, what times 2 will give me 10? Well, I know that 2 times 5 will give me 10, and 1 times 5 will help my numerator reflect what the picture is actually showing. Instead of the 1 piece, now it has the 5 pieces right here. I'm going to try to erase the bottom. We'll see if that works or not. I can only erase part of it. Bummer. If I take my white here, I could show that this is now 5/10, because 1 times 5 is 5 and 2 times 5 is 10. This fraction 1/2 is equivalent to 5/10. If I then take this, and this is going to be a little sloppy, but 3/10, I add that on with 5/10, I know that I have 8/10 altogether. Okay? So 3/10 plus 1/2 is 8/10. How did I do that? I made my fractions have the same denominator, and then I added them together quite easily. Okay, Lauren, here are some problems that I made just for you here. Take a minute, press the pause on the video when I'm done talking here, and solve the 4 problems. And once you think you have the answers to all 4 problems, you may press play and the answers are going to pop up. Okay, you can now see the answers. Well, I'm going to circle the final answers. 3/4, 7/24, 90/100, and 11/16. If If you have any questions about this and you're looking at my work and you're saying, Mr. Weiner, I'm not really sure exactly what you did, I would ask your mom at this point, and she would be a good resource. If not, you can email me too and say, I'd like more clarity on this. We're going to move on to the last topic for today here. Okay, the last topic we're going to talk about is if you have a problem like 1/3 and you need to add it with a fraction like 1/5. I can't do 3 times something to get 5. So what I need to do is, if I can't multiply just one of the numbers to get the other denominator, I need to multiply by the opposite numbers. So I'm going to multiply this side here by 3 because it's this denominator. And this side I'm going to multiply by that denominator, which is 5. So I'm going to multiply both sides here, and as you can see, every single number will be multiplied. So what I have now is, 5/15, which is that right there, plus 3/15, which is that right here. And that is 8/15. Okay, so 8/15 is the answer. That is just over a half. Okay, and that's kind of what we expected if we think about 1/3 and we think about 1/5. 1/3 is 0.33 repeated, and 1/5 is 0.2, so that's 0.53 repeated there. So just over half. So does this answer make sense? That's always what I want to ask. Does this answer make sense? And it does. Here's one more problem that we'll do together, and then I'll send some your way to try. If I had 1/7 and I added 10/12, 7 times something isn't going to get me to 12, so I know I need to multiply by the opposite denominator. 7 times 12, 1 times 12. Do you see where my multiplier comes from? It's the opposite side. We multiply the denominators by the opposite denominator. Only in the event when I can't multiply one number to get another. So let's do these calculations here. 1 times 12 is 12. 7 times 12 is 84. Plus 10 times 7 is 70. And 12 times 7 is 84. I add them together, and I have 82 84ths. Now at this point, you're looking at me and saying, Mr. Weiner, I'm done. Well, technically yes, but it's not the best answer possible. I could reduce this. I could make it smaller. And this is something that you talked about with Mrs. Sebastiani last quarter. You can reduce this. You can make it smaller. So I'm going to take 82 84ths and divide both of them by 2. My rule of thumb is that if I have an even number, both my numerator and denominator are the same. When both my numerator and denominator are even numbers, I can divide both of them by 2. So my final answer is 41/72. Lastly, I'll give you a couple practice problems to do, and then you'll pause the video, and then when you're done, I can give you the answers. Okay, here are a couple problems that you can try. You can press pause now. Okay, the answers are in, and the answers are 1 1/30, 1 1/12, 11/18, and 1 8/99. Now, these 3 problems were kind of difficult because they all ended up being more than a unit fraction. They ended up being, or more than a fraction. They ended up being a whole number and a fraction, which is we call a mixed number. And I'm not sure if you learned that term with Mrs. Sebastiani or not, but that is called a mixed number. So if you have any more questions, feel free to send me an email. Otherwise, I hope this is helpful. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. And enjoy the rest of your vacation.